Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Antony, and in today's video, I'm going to talk to you about the life cycle of garments and accessories and basically the fashion design process from A to Z, from concept to completion. But before we get started, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really does help my channel to grow. Please also leave a comment. I want to try and create a community of fashion lovers where we all get together and have a bit of a chat. So the first part is concepting your designs, and this is where you go out and you do comp shops and you do research and you go to different brands and you look around everywhere and find out what is trending, what's new, what's going on at the moment, what's the key shapes, what's the silhouettes, all of that kind of stuff. You bring all that together and you start concepting, and that is basically doing mood boards, pulling images of specific styles that you like and pulling them together in one big document. You can also have basic CADs where it's drawings or different logo positions or anything like that to show the kind of concept that you're going to go forward with. At this stage, you would have a meeting with your team or your manager or whoever is around you, and you would start talking about it and how it fits in together, what are really good ideas, what aren't so good ideas, and how you can amalgamate them all into one collection. This is really important because you want the collection to be streamlined. You want it to have the same voice, you want it to have the same direction. So if there's like 4 or 5 different designers all coming up with different concepts, all coming up with different ideas, you want to make sure all of them ideas are unified in one direction. From here, all the designers then go off and start CADing their designs and start putting their ideas down to specs and building out the initial ideas into families. Now this works more with accessories where you would have a hold-all, a laptop bag, a messenger, a small leather good. You'd build a family of it so the train of idea is running through all of them pieces. But you could still do this with outerwear, jersey and all of that sort of stuff. So if you've got a really nice piping detail, you want that to follow through, so you'd make sure that you're doing that on the t-shirt, on the outerwear, on the shirt, so it all kind of has one unified look. At this point, once all your CADing is done and all your specs are done, and that is making sure that all of the information is communicated to the factory well, you would then send this off to the factory. And at this point is the biggest part of design, the admin that comes behind the beautiful drawings and the beautiful fashion shows and all of that sort of stuff. Yes, as a designer, you will have to do some admin. So what is the admin? So basically it's when the suppliers are emailing you back and forth and saying, hey, what does this mean? Hey, what does that mean? Or what is this detail? What is this trim? Oh, you haven't filled in this section of the CAD. So you keep going back and forth until all the questions are answered. Usually there's a team of people that would help with this. So if you've got a senior designer, junior designer, and assistant, all of these people would be answering emails together to make sure all of the bits are answered that needs to be done. And this is where the factory starts making the styles. So after you've commented on all the stuff, after you've got all of the information that the factory needs to them, they'll start ordering the materials, they'll start ordering the trims, and they'll start pattern cutting the design. At this point, they might send you some mock-ups and saying, is this what you think? Is this what you wanted? And you can go back again on them. But essentially the style is now with the supplier and they are producing it. Generally, suppliers can be anywhere from China, India, Germany, Italy, Portugal, everywhere over the world. Now, once that style is complete on the supplier's end, they'll send you some photos and you can make some quick amends if need to be. Like, oh, you haven't done that pocket quite right. If that's the case, which is very rare that you'd make comments on the photos, they will then send the styles to you for you to review. So once you've received the items, you need to then give it a good combing over and you need to sort of spot any mistakes. You need to see if it's being executed in the way that you wanted, if the quality is to the high standard of what the brand represents. At this point, you'll get other people involved and other opinions. You'll show your manager, you'll show the buyer, you'll probably even show the merchandise to see if it's commercial enough to go all store. You'll also meet with the garment technicians who will then help you fit the garment and make sure it looks amazing. Now, if you want to know about the different careers out there that is open to fashion design and everything that goes into it, I've made a video and I'll link it here, and you can go and watch that and you can learn about all the different type of fashion jobs that there are out there that you can go for. So the garment technicians will get involved, they will help you make sure it fits properly and all of that, and then you will send your comments to the supplier. Let them know any mistakes, let them know anything that isn't quite right, and the garment techs will then also email and tell them about the fit, how to amend it, how to make sure that shoulder is hitting the peak of your shoulder just right. Then the supplier process goes on again. They'll come back with questions, you'll answer the questions, they'll begin to make it, they'll send you images, and all of that process is going over again. You'll receive another sample. So this is your second sample now. Usually samples can go anywhere between 2 and 4 samples, depending on how complex the design is, or depending on the supplier's capability. They might be a new supplier that is just starting up with you and they don't know your handwriting specifically yet. It might take a few more tries to get it perfect. Once you've gone through this process a few times, this is when you'll approve it and you'll say proceed to SMS. Now what is SMS? SMS is salesman samples. Basically, this is the one step before production, and it shows the garment or the bag or anything that you're designing in its best possible light. It's almost meant to be as close to how it's going to look in store as possible. Obviously, there's always going to be amends, there's always going to be slight changes, but at this point, you then put in your showroom. Now, the showroom is usually run by showroom coordinators and wholesale, and it's their job to invite different third parties into the showroom and sell that garment. Now these third parties can be anyone. They can be Selfridges, they can be Harrods, they could be Nordstrom. Anyone like that would come into the showroom and they'll say, oh, I really like that style. Oh, I really like that style. Let's buy 50 of them. Let's buy 100 of them. And this is how you build up your minimums. Now your minimums are really important. I've gone through it before, but basically the more minimums that you can get included on your design, the higher the volume and the better the price and the better margin that you can make. So merchandisers will love you, the higher volumes that you can produce from wholesale. From here, after the showroom, there might be more comments. Some of the clients might come back and say, oh, we really like this design, but if only it was tweaked just like this. And a majority of the time, they'll make the tweaks because they want as many numbers as possible. So this is one more round of sampling, but instead of asking for another sample, you'll ask for a pre-production sample because all of these little tweaks should be very minor. You request a pre-production sample, they make all the changes, and the pre-production sample comes back, but not to you, to production. At this point, you've already handed over all your styles, CADs, and all of this sort of stuff to your production team. Now, your production team is there as a big support to the design. They are basically there to make sure that the products you've designed are in store how you've designed them. Now, it's a big process going through everything. They have to make sure that all the trims that you want are used, all the leather, all the jersey and raw materials that you have chosen are used on that style. And sometimes things go out of stock, which is really super annoying, not just for the designer, but mainly for production, because it's their job to source and make sure that there's a suitable alternative for that design. So then production will come over to you and be like, hey Ant, so you designed this bag and this leather isn't available, but this leather is. And then you'd have a conversation, and if the leather's right, great, you can go forward and you can have that on your style. If it's wrong, you'll say, I'm really sorry, can't have that, it's not quite right to how I was thinking, and they'll go back and forth with the supplier until it's perfect. Once they have got their final production sample in, they will hit the green light and say, okay, great, produce everything for production. Now, the supplier will produce the stuff for your third party and for what you are going to have in store. It depends on the minimum, but they could be making 400 or 500 t-shirts, they could be making up to 10,000 t-shirts depending on what level of brand you are. So they'll be making all of these garments and then they'll start shipping it. It'll go on a boat and they'll be put on trucks and sent to the store, where the store staff will unpack the boxes. This is where visual merchandising comes in and makes the stores look amazing and makes you want to buy more products. And that is the basic fashion design process. If you want me to go into more detailed versions, how each stage works, if you want to know how higher end brands work or fast fashion brands work, let me know in the comment section below and give this video a big thumbs up. Please also don't forget to subscribe, it really does help my channel to grow and I really appreciate it. Please also leave a comment. Anything that you want to know in fashion, let me know. Please also check out my Etsy shop where you can buy CADs and vectors to help support you in your everyday design life. Alright, okay, thanks for watching. Alright, bye. Tra tra tra. Bye.